Saudi Arabia is starting to see significant growth in its natural gas production. It's up 30% since 2010. This is according to the U.S. Energy Information Agency, the EIA. And I need to mention right now, before continuing, we had a really great conversation on the podcast last week with Adam Szyminski. He was the former head of the EIA, so check that out. Anyway, what is significant about Saudi Arabia ramping up gas output is not the increase itself, but the type of increase it is seeing and why. There are two types of natural gas production in Saudi Arabia, that which is associated with oil production and standalone gas production. Saudi Arabia began producing gas associated with oil in the 70s, but as of the year 2000, it had zero standalone production. So fast forward to 2016, and you have one of the most influential contemporary multinational organizations formed, which is OPEC in Russia, creating what is called OPEC Plus. And in one of the first meetings of OPEC Plus, December 2016, the group came to an agreement in which Saudi Arabia agreed to slash oil production. When that happened, the amount of natural gas being produced by Saudi Arabia's associated gas fields dropped, but Saudi Arabia's overall natural gas production increased. The why, of course, is because Saudi Arabia poured big money into developing these fields. Richard, this is a really interesting piece from Sustig and the based on EIA data. It's really cool to see this. I mean, this is like the fruits being born from their investment into non-associated gas production, which is helping their economy right now.
First of all, let me compliment you. That's a really good scene setter. That was nice context.
It happens every now and then.
Well done. Yeah, the non-associated gas in 2015 for Saudi Arabia was 17% of their total natural gas mix, as you say, and today it's 46%, so almost 50%. And it is a critical distinction to be able to control, to separate those two and have access to non-associated gas, so you can toggle, crude exports and production separate from what you need. We've talked repeatedly about the Saudi Arabia's fuel energy mix, and I find it fascinating. And I find, as I've mentioned before, I find natural gas to be sort of a hinge fuel for them. When we talked with Adam Szyminski last week, he reviewed the sort of fundamentals of their circular carbon economy, and he went through. He said, there's separate parts, there's separate applications. There's reduce, there's recycle, reuse, remove, and then cross-cutting, which is something that goes can involve any number of those aspects of carbon capture and the circular carbon economy. Natural gas falls into 4 of those. And first, it's reduce. The more natural gas they produce, the less crude they can burn. They need to burn for power needs. So it's fuel switching, which is critical. It's not only critical for their local energy mix, but it's critical for their climate and emissions goals. On reuse, the whole thing about what they're doing in Jafurah, which is a shale play, is it's going to be carbon capture and utilization. So that's going to be where they're really going to go hard at trying to apply these carbon capture technologies. Again, remove, same thing, carbon capture and storage. Saudi Arabia has tremendous geological advantages in terms of storage. So this natural gas, whatever carbon they don't use, they can remove and store. And then there's cross-cutting, quote unquote, and that's hydrogen. And specifically blue hydrogen, which is what natural gas is going to be used from Jafurah to try and develop an industry there. So to me, it's kind of a hinge fuel as they try and reduce their emissions, as well as generate a technology hub with regard to carbon capture and hydrogen. And it's fascinating. And I would add to this, and I think this is probably a poor analogy, but I sort of see Saudi Arabia at the moment with regard to their energy mix as a very savvy investor, and they have several modes. One is a blue chip investor, so they have oil and traditional natural gas, and we know that they're increasing their production capacity of crude from 12 to 13 million barrels a day. So pumping in a lot of money for that. So you've got that blue chip investor that's going after industries and sectors that have significant market share, proven sector expertise, long-term investment pipelines, established infrastructure and supply chains, so specifically crude oil and traditional natural gas. Then you've sort of got the crowd investor or the index investor, so renewables, solar, wind, and nuclear. These are all technologies that exist, but Saudi Arabia is trying to bring them to scale in the kingdom. And we talked about this with Adam in terms of solar. They've got 4 gigawatts online. They want to reach 4 gigawatts by the end of 2022. They have targeted 20 gigawatts by 2023, which is, will be a strong play if they can get it. Adam pointed out, he said, look, especially in terms of renewables, it's not necessarily going to be linear. Once you get rolling on this, it could be exponential, and they could reach their target of 40 gigawatts by 2030. But you can. So you look at you look at that as a crowd investor. This is a known technology that they're trying to bring to Saudi Arabia. Then you have sort of a venture capital investor, which would be technology that's new to Saudi Arabia or within markets that aren't fully established. The market share is to be determined. The Jafurah play, that shale gas is at at greater depths than what's 3,000 feet in Permian and U.S. shale. It's talking 6,000 to 9,000 feet. They'll be using seawater. So it's a known technology, but it's being applied in Saudi Arabia. So that's sort of a little more risky than crowd investing or blue chip investing. And then you have what might be called a seed capitalist, which is not exact, but that would be the carbon capture technology on a large scale, which has not been proved to be successfully scalable or economic yet. And in addition, you have green hydrogen. So these are still early in technology learning curve, not proven to scale, not proven economically. So you've got Saudi Arabia in terms of their energy mix investing at all levels and in all types with all levels of risk. And I think it's a great play. I think it's an aggressive and smart play to sort of not only strengthen what you know, but go and try and build what might be coming down the line.
Yeah, and we should note that the kingdom is the 7th largest global consumer of natural gas. And so for them to produce all the natural gas that they consume, they neither export nor import natural gas. They just are big consumers of natural gas, and they produce what they need. And that may change going forward as these new production streams come online, like you mentioned, Jafurah and others.
And by the way, most of that's offshore, so it's more expensive. So once again, Saudi Arabia has made a decision to spend money, to make money, and to position themselves advantageously. And again, once again, that differentiates them from so many other fossil fuel producers and exporters. They put in the time and money to build their industry. And that Jafurah gas field, once it comes on, it starts, I think, in 2027, full. Actually, maybe a little earlier than that, but
I think it was 2025. But yeah, a few years.
Yeah, hoping to get 2 trillion cubic feet a day, adding by 2030. That'll put the kingdom 3rd in the world in natural gas production. But let me add one more thing: they're doing all these. They started on the natural gas production, trying to expand it and the non-associated back in 2000 when they had 0 non-associated. Now it's almost 50% of the mix, but that capacity build enables them to do things like what they've just done, which is they're working with Iraq to try and get some natural gas. There's a GCC pipeline network, so you can get natural gas from Saudi Arabia to all the GCC states. You can get natural gas from Saudi Arabia to Iraq via Kuwait because they're connected, and they're talking with them about offsetting supplies from Iran. So this is a political plus for Saudi. If you're looking at it from Saudi Arabia and probably from Iraq too. That it eliminates a dependence there, and also the natural gas supplies that create electricity for Iraq from Iran are intermittent and not always reliable. So anyway, it creates a number of positives, in addition to just expanding output capability.